Welcome to this deep dive into mental wellness.
Yeah.
It's all about finding calm, right?
Yes.
So you shared with us Finding Calm, the PDF, and we're really diving into its pathways to mental wellness.
Right.
Thinking about stress, mindfulness, all that good stuff.
Yeah.
And we're pulling out the most useful, practical tips for our listeners to kind of create a cheat sheet to a calmer you.
And it's all about making it practical.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So let's just jump right into it.
Yeah, let's get into it.
Let's start with stress.
Okay.
Like, we all know that feeling when a deadline's approaching or we're dreading a presentation, our heart's beating, our palms are sweating.
Yep.
That's stress in action.
Yeah.
But here's the interesting thing. Finding Calm points out that stress isn't always the bad guy.
That's right. It's not always bad for you.
So it's actually our body's natural response to challenges.
That's right. It is. It's how we've evolved to deal with challenges and handle anything that comes our way.
So that burst of energy we get when we have to react quickly, that's stress doing its job.
Yeah. But what about when that stress switch is stuck in the on position?
Yeah, that's when it becomes a problem.
That's when it gets tricky, right?
That's right.
That's chronic stress, and that's when the trouble really begins.
Yes.
It's like that lingering stress from pressure at work or relationship issues,
Yeah.
anything that keeps your mind racing,
Yeah.
right? And the guide actually has a self-assessment. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
To figure out your personal triggers.
Is worth checking out later.
Definitely worth checking out later.
Yeah.
Because I think once you know what your triggers are, you can start tackling them more strategically.
That's right.
So, for example, I know public speaking is a trigger for me,
Yeah.
and I can practice mindfulness techniques beforehand.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, mindfulness is like a major weapon against stress in this guide.
Oh, for sure. It's one of the biggest and most accessible tools in our arsenal.
Okay, so how would you define mindfulness for someone who's never really tried it? It's not necessarily about emptying your mind completely. That's pretty unrealistic.
Right.
It's more about changing how you relate to your thoughts and feelings.
So instead of getting swept away by anxieties,
Yeah.
you're kind of observing them without judgment.
Right.
And the guide actually suggests starting with something as simple as focusing on your breath.
Yeah, that's a really good technique you can use anywhere, anytime.
How do you do that?
You just sit comfortably, close your eyes, tune into your breath as you inhale and exhale.
Okay.
And your mind will wander, that's totally normal. Just gently guide it back to the breath.
And even a few minutes a day can make a difference.
Absolutely, consistency is key.
Consistency is key.
Yeah.
Okay.
The guide mentions some other techniques too,
Okay, like what?
like mindful breathing, just consciously taking those deep breaths.
Okay.
It can be a lifesaver in those really tense moments.
So it's almost like an instant reset button for your nervous system.
Mm.
And then there's also sensory awareness, which is about tuning into your five senses to ground yourself in the present.
Yeah, so instead of, going into the future with your anxieties, you focus on what you can see, hear, smell, taste, and touch in the present moment.
So you're not spiraling about what might happen.
Exactly.
You're really just present.
Right.
I like that. That's good.
What I love about mindfulness is that you can integrate it into your everyday activities.
No, interesting.
The guide mentions mindful eating, mindful walking, even mindful work.
So it's not just like a 10-minute meditation.
Yeah, bringing that same awareness to everything you do.
It's a lifestyle shift.
Exactly.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we've got stress, we've got mindfulness.
Mhm.
Now let's talk about something I personally love, moving our bodies.
Yes.
The guide dives into how physical activity isn't just good for our physical health, but it's a game changer for mental well-being too.
It's about recognizing that mind-body connection, they're not two separate things.
Right.
When you move your body, it directly impacts your mental state.
They're so interconnected.
Yeah.
And this isn't about hitting the gym and grinding it out. Finding Calm emphasizes finding activities you genuinely enjoy.
Yeah, that's key. For sustainability, it shouldn't feel like a chore.
Right, because then you won't do it.
Exactly.
And there's such a variety of things out there, like yoga for stress reduction and flexibility.
Yeah, or aerobic exercise to get your heart pumping and release those endorphins.
Oh, endorphins.
Yeah.
So important.
Yeah, or even strength training, to build that resilience, both physically and mentally.
I feel like when I'm stronger in my body, I feel stronger in my mind.
Absolutely, it's all connected.
It's all connected.
And don't forget about stretching. Even something as simple as stretching can release tension,
especially if you're at a desk all day,
especially if you're at a desk all day.
like we are right now.
Yeah, the guide even has a section on quick workouts for those days when you're really pressed for time.
So you don't even need a full hour.
Yeah, 5 minutes here, 10 minutes there. It can still make a huge difference.
Any movement is good movement. I like that.
Exactly.
All right, now let's talk about a tool that's even more readily available. Our breath.
Yeah.
Finding Calm dedicates a whole section to deep breathing techniques and even calls them on-demand chill pills.
I love that.
I tried the 4-7-8 breathing before bed the other night from the guide,
Oh, yeah.
and I have to say, I fell asleep faster than usual.
I believe it. It's so simple, but so powerful.
It's amazing.
Yeah, the guide also mentions box breathing, which athletes and military personnel use to stay calm under pressure.
Interesting.
And then there's abdominal breathing, which helps with full lung expansion.
Okay.
Yeah, and promotes a sense of calm.
So how does deep breathing actually work?
When you take those deep, deliberate breaths, you're activating your parasympathetic nervous system, which essentially hits the brakes on your stress response.
So it's the opposite of that fight or flight mode.
Exactly. It's like a signal to your body that it's time to chill out.
So it's like, hey, everything's okay, we can relax now. And the best part is, you can use these techniques anytime, anywhere.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
At your desk, in traffic, before a big presentation, wherever you are.
It's the beauty of it.
Okay, so we've talked about breathing, but I want to shift gears a little bit and talk about time management.
Okay.
Because I think a lot of us can relate to that feeling of not being in control of our time, constantly playing catch up.
Yeah, definitely.
And that fuels anxiety, right?
Big time.
Finding Calm makes this great point that time management is a skill.
It is.
It's not something you're born with.
Right. It's not an innate talent. It's something you can learn and practice.
So we can get better at it.
Absolutely. Anyone can improve their time management skills.
And the guide offers all sorts of strategies, like the Eisenhower matrix, where you prioritize tasks based on urgency and importance,
Yeah, that's a classic one.
or the Pomodoro technique, using those focused work intervals with breaks to maximize productivity.
I love the Pomodoro technique. Those breaks are crucial.
I've been trying that, and the breaks are game changers.
Yeah, they really help you recharge.
Yeah.
The guide also talks about time blocking, scheduling specific times for specific tasks.
Which can bring more structure. I'm all about structure.
Absolutely. And it can reduce decision fatigue.
Yeah, I like that. It's like, this is when I do this, this is when I do that.
Exactly.
And then for those of us who struggle with procrastination,
Oh, yeah, we've all been
our
there.
guide has some great tips on breaking down those big tasks into smaller steps.
Yeah, and also eliminating distractions, like putting your phone on airplane mode.
Or turning off notifications.
Yeah, creating that focus zone.
Speaking of setting boundaries, that's another crucial aspect of stress management that the guide dives into.
Boundaries are essential.
What exactly are boundaries?
They're the limits you set to protect your physical, emotional, and mental well-being.
Okay,
They help you define where you end and others begin.
I like that.
It's about honoring your own needs. You could journal about those anxieties.
Get it all out on paper.
Exactly. It can be really helpful for processing those thoughts.
And top it off with some mindfulness meditation before bed.
Oh yeah, to quiet the mind.
It's like a multi-pronged attack on stress.
I love that analogy.
Right.
And don't forget about social support.
Oh yeah, so important.
Reaching out to a friend or colleague for encouragement or feedback can make a world of difference.
Absolutely.
Sometimes just talking it out can really help.
The guide also emphasizes tracking your progress, which I'm really bad at.
It's easy to forget about that step.
I just kind of jump from one thing to the next.
Right. But paying attention to how different techniques make you feel is crucial.
Okay, so it's not a set it and forget it kind of thing.
Definitely not. It's an ongoing process, like life itself.
Life is constantly throwing us curveballs.
Exactly. So we need to be adaptable.
So stress management is more like a journey, not a destination.
I like that. It's about developing healthy habits and coping mechanisms that will support you throughout life.
Flexibility, consistency, self-compassion.
Those are the keys.
Okay, so we've been talking a lot about the guide, but I'm also curious to hear your personal insights.
Sure.
What's been a game steps to continue on your journey? Welcome back to the final part of our deep dive into finding calm.
It's been a journey, right? Exploring all these different pathways to mental wellness.
So many different paths, and the beauty is you can choose what works best for you.
Exactly. Create your own personalized toolkit.
We've covered mindfulness, breathing techniques, physical activity, boundaries, time management. The list goes on and on.
It's a lot to take in, but remember the key takeaway. There's no one-size-fits-all approach.
We've been saying that all along.
It's all about finding what works for you.
Finding your own rhythm.
Right, and being flexible and consistent.
And being kind to yourself along the way.
Before we wrap things up, I wanted to touch on something Finding Calm mentions briefly.
Okay, what's that?
The power of gratitude.
Oh, I love that you brought this up.
It's something we often overlook, but it's so powerful.
Yeah, we talked about gratitude journaling earlier. But I'm curious to hear your perspective on gratitude as a broader practice.
Well, in a world that often focuses on what's wrong, gratitude is like a breath of fresh air.
It's about intentionally shifting your focus to the good.
Exactly. What are you thankful for? What do you appreciate?
It's not about pretending everything is perfect
No, it's about acknowledging the good alongside the bad.
and making a conscious effort to appreciate the little things.
The small moments, the everyday joys.
And there's actually quite a bit of research showing that gratitude can have some pretty amazing effects.
It's true. Studies have linked gratitude to increased happiness, reduced stress and anxiety, better sleep,
Oh, really?
yeah, stronger relationships, even improved physical health.
It sounds like a superpower.
It kind of is. And the best part is, it's pretty simple to cultivate.
How so?
Well, you could start by incorporating a daily gratitude practice.
Like taking a few minutes each morning to think about what you're grateful for.
Exactly. Or maybe jotting down a few good things that happened during the day.
Before you go to bed.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be a formal practice either.
So you can express gratitude in simple ways throughout the day.
Like sending a thank you note, telling a friend you appreciate them.
Or just acknowledging the kindness of a stranger.
Those small acts can make a big difference.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into finding calm,
We want to leave you with this invitation.
what small act of gratitude can you practice today?
What simple shift in perspective can you make to invite more thankfulness into your life?
We've explored so many valuable insights from finding calm
And we hope you feel empowered to use them.
to create a calmer, more resilient, and more fulfilling life.
Remember, it's a journey, not a destination.
Start small, be consistent, be kind to yourself.
And never underestimate the power of connection, self-care, and gratitude.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into finding calm.
We wish you all the best on your journey.